Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityurmamritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmaswarupine avatara varishtaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Jananim saradam devim Ramakrishnam jagadgurum Padapadme tayo shritva pranamami muhurmuhu. Namah Shri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swami Netapaharine. Dear friends, I'm really glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me to the Hindu temple of Augusta. And thank you for that extremely generous introduction. Now I can only disappoint. The subject this morning is purposeful living with Vedanta. Now I think an hour and a half sort of defeats the purpose. So let's have an hour of, not more than an hour of the talk, followed by question answers. That'll be better. We can have more of interaction in that case. Now, purposeful living with Vedanta, it's connected deeply, intimately with the purpose of life. I was reading Houston Smith's very nice book, The Religions of the World, and it's a very nice chapter on Hinduism. And he says one way of introducing Hinduism is that Hinduism states that you can have whatever you want. Let us use that as the key to unlock Hinduism, he says. Very nice approach, interesting approach. You see, from the very beginning, Hinduism says, what do people want? What is it that people want? These days, there's a lot of development in the field of positive psychology, especially the last 20 years or so. The American Psychology Association has done a lot of work in positive psychology, mainly due to the efforts of one Professor Seligman, Martin Seligman. And his own work has been in the field of happiness. So he has studied what is it that makes people happy. What is it that people need to be happy? A very interesting subject, and everybody is interested in happiness. Who would not want to be happy? And what he has concluded, this Professor Seligman and others also, let me just present in summary. He has made this little equation. He says happiness, happiness, is equal to P plus E plus M. Small p, small e, and small m. What is P? This is the first thing that comes to our mind when we think about happiness is pleasure. So, nice food, a party, the company of friends, and all sorts of things. You watch a movie, whatever gives you pleasure. That is the first thing that comes to our mind when we think about happiness. So he says, definitely it is a component of happiness. He starts with that, P. But he says there is something more than that. Pleasure, there are some problems with it. First of all, it does not last. Well, you don't need Professor Seligman to tell us that. This is the first insight that Indian spirituality got thousands of years ago. That pleasure does not last. After some time, we want more of it, different varieties of it, otherwise we don't get the same pleasure. Any economist will tell you the law of diminishing marginal utility. More you consume of a thing, the less and less satisfaction you get from it. So, and there are many other problems. Pleasure is habit forming, you get used to it. There's a lot of trouble you undergo to get things which are pleasurable to you. And sometimes when people are addicted, they go beyond the norms of decency, of morality, or even of law, and so on and so forth. So many problems. He says there is another source of happiness. People find happiness in work, in career, what they do. So engagement, E, he calls it engagement. It may not be pleasurable. A person who's a doctor who's working hard, hours and hours, treating people, maybe performing surgeries. It's hard work, it's not pleasurable as such, but it gives satisfaction. It gives deep happiness. In fact, if you tell the doctor, you go sit and watch a TV serial on doctors, and you actually go there and work in the hospital, which one will give you more happiness? They'll say, actually working will give me more happiness rather than watching a TV serial. A TV serial may give you pleasure, but more satisfaction comes from actually doing something which you love. It may not be work. Some people get it from hobby. Somebody likes gardening, somebody likes classical music. They cultivate that hobby and slowly they get a deep sense of satisfaction from it. Somebody said that if you get paid for doing what you love to do, then you are most fortunate. So if you love what you're doing in your career, in your job, you're earning your livelihood, at the same time you love doing it also, then you're very fortunate. You love doing what you do for a living. A pilot in an interview said, I'm a very fortunate person. They pay me for doing what I would do without any money also. I love flying. So, engagement. In any field, maybe a doctor, a scientist, a housewife, a teacher. Some people love cooking. So, different kinds of activities give us that satisfaction. And it is more satisfying than pleasure. And it's more lasting, that satisfaction. It's a deeper sense of satisfaction. And then he says there is something more than this also. He calls it engagement, then meaning in life. M, the small m, meaning in life. What does meaning in life mean? You see, beyond engagement also, beyond career also, when you do something for others, for example, unselfishly, I don't want anything from it. I don't want an award, I don't want a title, nothing. I just like doing things for other people. Maybe you teach in a school for underprivileged kids. Maybe you donate to a society which is doing good work. Something, it gives you a deep sense of satisfaction. And then he says, see, they are not equal. Pleasure and engagement and meaning are not equal in giving happiness. You actually get deeper and more deeper happiness and more satisfying experience through career and work and engagement than through pleasure. So engagement, E, gives more happiness than simply P. And if we are lucky enough, to find a purpose, a deeper meaning in life, that gives much more happiness than E, the engagement. For example, I met a few interesting young men in India, all of whom are highly qualified. You know, IIT graduates, IIM graduates, some were working in Silicon Valley here, some they made their fortune in the .com thing, so some are millionaires. And after those experiences, what these people have done is, they have given up these careers, very lucrative careers, very engaging careers, satisfying careers, and gone back to India and doing some work for, one person is teaching poor kids in Karnataka. One person has set up an organization to gather used clothes so that he can give it to poor people who do not have money to buy clothes. Another person is teaching young students who don't have money for good coaching classes. You know, there's a whole industry of coaching industry is there where you try to get into IITs and all. So this person I met, he takes only children who cannot pay for it, and he teaches them for free. And he has made a lot of publicity recently. Has been given Super 30, they call it, in Patna. So he takes 30 kids every batch, and all 30 get into IIT, to the horror of all those coaching industries. You know, they take thousands of children and thousands and millions, they will earn crores of rupees, and their business is threatened. Anyhow, the point is, these people have moved from engagement to meaning in life. They are not earning as much as they were earning earlier. It's not such a glamorous job, a Silicon Valley job or something like that. But if you ask them, they say it's not a sacrifice. We don't feel we are sacrificing. We are actually much happier now. Now you can see that meaning component is heavier, got a greater contribution to your total happiness than the engagement component. When I read about this, and this is fairly well known now, a lot of work is being done, I was immediately reminded of the traditional structure of Purusharthas in Hinduism. You see, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, when we speak of it, everybody knows these terms. We all know these terms, but we never reflect upon it. Think about it. Can you not now map it? Pleasure. Directly you can map to Kama. Artha. Kama means pleasure. Any form, sense pleasures. Artha. Literally it means wealth. But it also means success in life, power, achievement, name and fame. All of that you can put into Artha. You can easily map it into engagement. And with some stretching, you can map Dharma into meaning in life. Dharma is a word which, if you look at a Sanskrit dictionary, will have a wide spectrum of meanings. So one of the meanings is of course religion, but it comes from Dri. The root meaning is to what holds a person, gives an entity its integrity. So Dharma. When you do something beyond the small self, something more, that is also Dharma. Now, you can easily map them. Kama, Artha, Dharma. Only one thing, you just see, in India we never put it in this way, pleasure, engagement, meaning. We don't say Kama, Artha, Dharma. What do we say? Dharma, Artha, Kama, yes. We always say Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So what does it mean? The idea was that Dharma provides the basis. You see, there is a very interesting classification. I think it is in Vichar Sagar, a work of late Advaita, a few hundred years, just a couple of hundred years ago. Nishchal Das. There, he has an interesting classification. He says, people who only chase pleasure, or people who chase only pleasure and money, and wealth and success, he calls them, he has given them a name, calls them Pamara. It's an abusive word in Sanskrit and in some Indian languages also. Pamara means a person who lives an instinctive life. I want it now. So, pleasure. If a person is addicted only to pleasure, and there are such persons, an alcoholic, a drug addict, just want that shot of pleasure just now. That's all they want. So that's the lowest category, he says, those who just follow their senses. In fact, to move from Kama to Artha, one needs some discipline. If you want to succeed in life, if you want to get a degree, then you want to get a job and hold a job and move ahead in your career, in your business, a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice is necessary. A lot of hard work is necessary. So, that Artha and Kama together, most people you will see, this is what we want. Now, he says, religion does not have much to say to such people. Because they say all we want is pleasure and the wherewithal, the money and the wealth to get that pleasure. That's all we want. Then what is the way out for such people? God is gracious. Those who have got a conscience, for them religion starts. For those who do not have a conscience, I just want whatever I can get right now. Well, for them also God has made an arrangement. It is called the law of karma. When we do dharma, the result is punya and the result is sukha. When we do adharma, the result is papa and the result of that is dukkha. So by suffering, such people learn by suffering that this kind of lifestyle is not sustainable, and people learn. We see it all the time. Those who are too much addicted to pleasure seeking or just money, very soon they say this kind of life is not sustainable. There's something more in life. So then they come back to morality, decency and religion. Somebody said that this concept of Antaryami, God is a conscience within, and God controls from within. There is a small voice which tells us this is right, do it, this is wrong, don't do it. Sometimes we listen to it, sometimes we do not listen to it. Now if you don't listen to it, well, God has made an arrangement external. We do not normally hear the term Bahiryami. Yami means controller. So external controller, we don't hear the term. Basically God operates through, he says, Kala Danda, the rod of time. We learn through harsh experiences. Externally, kicks and blows. If a person does not listen to the voice inside, God will teach from external. Just like parents. If the child follows the rules of the house, very good. Parents are loving. Parents scold and may punish a child not out of anger, out of the same love, if the child is not autonomously disciplined. So parents will impose an external discipline. God does the same thing. So dharma starts when we accept that religion, morality, decency, they all contribute to our happiness. They are not limiting our happiness. That's why in India, you will see the first thing they say is dharma. Not that dharma is lower than kama or artha, but dharma should be the basis of kama and artha. Basically, what does dharma do? Dharma puts a circle, a Lakshman Rekha around our activities. This is what you will do, this is what you will not do. This is what you can say, this is what you should not say. This is what you think and this is what you should not think. If you want happiness, if you want peace of mind. So it starts with that. Nishchal Das Ji has this classification. Only pleasure, kama, and only money, artha, he calls it pamara, instinctive life. But if you accept dharma, on the basis of that, if somebody seeks pleasure in life and wealth and success in life, such a person he calls a dharmika vishayi. Vishayi, worldly person, but dharmika vishayi. Dharmika vishayi is a moral, decent, good person who wants worldly success, worldly pleasure and all that. And mostly people are like this. Mostly people are not pamara, otherwise society would break down. In society, most people you see around you they want worldly pleasure, they want worldly success, but definitely they would like to think of themselves as decent people, good people, moral people. So dharmika vishayi. Now, in that article, essay on Hinduism, Houston Smith says, a time comes after you have enjoyed many things in life, after you have got some measure of success in life, after you have done something for others also. After that, another time comes. You see, even this moving out from the smaller self to a larger self, which dharma does for us. You see, everything in life teaches us to move ahead. Even, say, marriage, for example. Before marriage, a person is thinking about himself or herself. The moment you get married, you have to think about one more person. The moment you have children, you have to think of some more persons. You are expanding. In fact, most married people, their lives are for their children mostly. You will see, most of the time, you are not chasing kama. What you are doing is artha you are earning, and mostly time is spent for family and for the people around you. So you are expanding. Naturally, human life, if you follow a moral human life, teaches you to expand. This as an aside, modern society, there are some limitations to it. What our modern world tells us is that you will be happy if you chase pleasure, if you earn a lot of money, you will be happy. I've seen so many people, at around our age, 40s, around that time. Some of my friends who were brilliant students, then they got into multinational jobs, they got married and had children. Some such people, they come and ask, Swamiji, now we see that more or less our life has taken on a pattern, and we see this is what is going to happen in our lives. Now we are fixed into a particular path of life, marriage, children, and until these children grow up, we see this is what we have to do next 20, 30, 40 years. What will give satisfaction now? Modern world, if you look at the advertisements, says you will be happy if you buy this, iPhone 6 or something. People you can see in the advertisement, they have got it and they are smiling, so they are happy. And that's the subliminal message coming to us, that this gadget you do, you will be happy. If you are not happy anymore, what is the solution given by the modern world? Well, the next iPhone will come along, you will be happy again. Or you go for this vacation, if you have already been there, done that. So you need to do something more, a variation on that. There seems to be no other answer. If you are not happy with artha and kama, the only answer provided by modern society is more artha and more kama, a different variety of artha and kama. But the insight which our sages had is very interesting. at a certain stage in life, certain maturity when it comes to life, then you need to move beyond artha and kama into dharma. So when such people come, I say, simple solution. Instead of chasing down the same path and trying to repeat, you see, if you keep on repeating something and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. Same thing I'm doing, at one time it gave me happiness, and now it is not giving me happiness. I keep repeating it, you will still not get happiness. You're doing the same thing, you'll get the same result. It's called cause and effect, law of causation. Now, what you need to do is something different. Now try doing something for others. Any social cause where you can help somebody who needs your help, you will see it gives you satisfaction. You see, this is the interesting paradox. We work for our own happiness, we are unhappy. You work for the happiness of others, you will be happy. It seems counterintuitive. If I give my time, energy, money and all for others, they may be happy, but how will I be happy? But it works, you see. You do that for others, you will be happy. So that expansion, dharma, expansion from artha and kama into dharma. But as I said, at that point also, after doing that, the question arises, is this all in life? Houston Smith says, after even Beethoven, Mozart and Bach and the highest products of culture, Western culture is big. After this also the human person asks, is this all in life? Very soon I'll become old and die and finished. Is this all? Well, our Shastras, they say at this point, it's like you go to a shop and show me. They don't do it here in supermarkets here, but in India if you go to say clothes shops, so the shopkeeper will roll out these clothes in front of you, cloth in front of you, and if you say no, I don't like this, if you buy it and go, it's okay, alright. If you say no, aur kuch hai dikhaiye. If you have got it, some other kind of material, show it to me. Any special thing you have got? If you keep on persisting, the shopkeeper will say, okay, you come to the back of the shop. I have got only very choice thing which I will give you. But generally we don't show it until people ask for it. Similarly, the Vedas, our Shastras say, if you are not satisfied with dharma, artha, kama, beyond pleasure, engagement and meaning, if you ask for something, beyond that, then come, we have got something. The Vedas are divided into roughly Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda is when we want certain means to get certain ends. We want to do this, we want pleasure, we want engagement, we want meaning, we want kama, artha, dharma, this is what we want. Karma Kanda tells us what to do. Beyond that, if you want to go, then it says there is something called Jnana Kanda. There is something beyond this mundane human life which we see. What is that? You see, the essential, the core idea of spirituality, the core idea of the Upanishads is expressed so beautifully in this mantra. Shrinvantu vishve amritasya putra aye dhamani divyani tastu vedaham purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasah parastat tameva vididva ati mrityumeti nanyah pantha vidyate hayanaya. This is Upanishadic mantra. It expresses the core idea of spirituality so well. Swami Vivekananda, when he came to this country more than 100 years ago in Chicago Parliament of Religions, after that he toured this country, in the United States. In many places when he gave talks, he would chant this in Sanskrit and then translate into English. What does it mean? The core idea of spirituality, the core idea of the Upanishads. And I would say the core idea of any religion, the essential idea. Listen, ye children of immortal bliss, amritasya putra, children of immortal bliss. You see, the one fact that we all know about ourselves is that we shall die one day. We turn our face away from it. We neglect this idea, but we know everybody dies. Vivekananda says so powerfully, kings die and beggars die. The learned people die and the ignorant die. The richest of people die and the poorest of people die. Saints die, sinners also die. Death of the body is inevitable. And here the Upanishad tells us, Amritasya putra, you are children of immortal bliss. How strange. And it even says, in heavens also, if there are gods in heavens, devatas, you also listen. Because what I am going to tell you, what the message of the Upanishads is, that even you don't know. Those who are in this vast cycle of births and deaths, they do not know this secret. You see, in Hinduism, they have a very grand view of this universe and life. I was remembering, this Carl Sagan in this country, he had this beautiful TV serial, Cosmos. When we grew up in Doordarshan, they used to show it. I remember they had very few English programs in Doordarshan those days. There was I Love Lucy and Star Trek, the old serial Star Trek, and Cosmos. Now in this book he has written, there's a book also, Cosmos, there is written that modern science has revealed to us such a grand picture of space and time, which ancient mythologies, ancient man had no idea about. For them, the universe was created a few thousand years ago. The universe consists of Earth in the center and a few stars twinkling in the sky, that's it. But modern science reveals to us a universe created in some unimaginable Big Bang billions of years ago. An unimaginably vast universe with millions or hundreds of millions of stars divided into millions of galaxies. A vast universe in the cosmic scale. And at the microcosmic scale, far below you, our human scale, you find the tiniest of particles and energy. Now they are talking about superstrings and so on. So Carl Sagan says an awesome picture of the universe is revealed by modern science, which ancient man did not know. And then he adds, except perhaps the cosmology of the ancient Hindus, he says. They had a tremendous picture, even more awesome picture of the universe. A ceaseless cycle, not just one Big Bang in this universe. Many times the universe has been created and it existed over billions of years. Life evolved and planets came and everything happened. And destroyed and again created. So they had this tremendous idea of the universe. A cosmic cycle of creation, existence and destruction. In this tremendous universe, one fact, as they say, they thought of not only human beings, but many planes of existence. In our old books we find 14 worlds, different worlds of existence. So there are other kinds of creatures also, they thought. But they say that in this entire cycle, people do not know the secret which we are going to talk about. We also, it's not that we did not exist, somehow we have been created and then we shall die after a few years. No, the Hindu idea is that we have been existing for life after life, hundreds of lives, thousands of lives. We are ancient creatures. We are not born with a blank slate. We come with the weight of past karma behind us, life after life. So there's this huge idea. The law of karma regulates everything. What we have done in past lives is what we see today. Right now, what we find our lives to be is the resultant of what we have done in past lives. And because of the law of karma, what we have done we can undo and we can make a new life for ourselves. What we do in this life, it will produce effects in this life and next life and lives ahead. So this is the grand idea, life after life, of the Hindu cosmology. Now, if somebody says that, is there something beyond this? I understand, many lives, many experiences, but beyond this also, is there something? There was this cartoon I saw in a magazine. In this country you have born again Christians. So one American is telling an Indian, you see, I am a born again Christian. And the Indian and the Hindu is looking at him and saying, well, I am a born again and again and again Hindu. So I have been born many times. The Rishi says there is a secret which you do not know. Something beyond this is there. What is that? There is an infinite existence. Purusham Mahantam. An infinite existence is there. That I have known. Vedaham Purusham Mahantam. Here Purusha does not mean man, not male. It means a being. An infinite being is there. What is that like? Aditya Varnam. blazing forth like the sun, luminous like the sun, not with a material light, not with a light like this. It's a light of consciousness, Aditya Varnam. An infinite consciousness is there. Alright, supposing it's there, what's it like? Tamasa Parastat, forever beyond death and disease and darkness and sorrow. You know, Bhagavan Buddha's entire quest was, there is suffering in life, sarvam dukkham, there is a cause of suffering. Is there a way out of suffering? What did Siddhartha do? Why did he become the Buddha? He was searching for a way out of suffering. So here is the answer in the Upanishads, that there is something beyond suffering. An infinite existence, it is there right now. So what do we have to do? Tameva viditva. By knowing that alone, by realizing that alone, ati mrityu meti, one goes beyond death and suffering and limitation. Not only death, any kind of human limitation, one goes beyond that. So that realization, that goal, that pursuit is called moksha. It is beyond Seligman Sahab's, pleasure, engagement, meaning, one step beyond that. Beyond dharmarthakam, that goal is moksha. It is called parama purushartha, the highest goal of life. Once you experience the things of life, one is supposed to have sufficient maturity to start seeking that. What is that like? It's defined as, in Sanskrit, Atyantika dukkha nivritti paramananda praktischa. Complete transcendence of sorrow and attainment of infinite bliss. You see, we all want to be happy. Even Professor Seligman searches in positive psychology for happiness. But is ultimate happiness, unchanging, eternal happiness possible? Most people think it's not possible. Can we completely overcome sorrow? Most people think, no, sorrow will be there. You can minimize it, you can avoid it. That's the level at which karma kanda operates. Conventional religion tries to show us how to lead a good life so that you mostly get good experiences, happy life. Minimize the suffering. That is conventional religion. The law of karma tells us, secret of happiness. You see, today, bookstores, if you go, self-help section will be full of how to be happy. How to be happy in 7 days, or 7 steps to happiness, something like that they will show you. And so many, book after book. Well, Hinduism, Vedanta has a simple formula. You want happiness? Find out what causes happiness. According to Vedanta, it is governed by the law of karma. Governed by the law of karma. Good karma, good result. In Sanskrit, dharmika karma leads to punyam. And punya, these terms we know. Punya leads to what? Sukha. If you want happiness, if you want sukha, you must deserve it. That deserving is called punya. And punya comes from dharmika karma. Dharmartha kama we said. So dharmika karma gives rise to, generates this punya, which makes us deserving of happiness. And we get a series of desired for events in life. If you want a happy family life, if you want good health, if you want material prosperity, have a lot of punya. It will give rise to those things in life. Deserve it. And the other way around is adharmika karma. Step outside the bonds of morality, of decency. Adharmika karma. It leads to papa. Papa is demerit or sin. Demerit. So we don't deserve happiness. We get misery. We get dukkha. So, equation is very simple. Dharma, punya, sukha. You want sukha, you need to have punya. How do you get punya? Do a lot of good work. Misery, you want to reduce misery. Nobody wants dukkha. How do you reduce misery? You reduce the papa in your life. And we must avoid, to reduce the papa, we must avoid adharma. That which our conscience tells us is not good. Avoid that. That is the idea. But suppose now we want something more than this. More than minimizing unhappiness and maximizing happiness. More than that we want. Because this, in Hindi they say chakkar. This has been going on for long enough. We want the truth about this universe. We want to go beyond this law of karma. We want to transcend it. Completely overcome suffering and get permanent happiness, permanent joy. That the law of karma cannot give us. Swami Vivekananda, in his beautiful poem, Song of Sannyasin, he says, good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. Law of karma, now you can understand he means the law of karma. Good, good, bad, bad, and none escape the law. You see, it's very interesting. There's so much difference between the different sects of Hinduism. And take Hinduism as a whole, it's an ocean. Take Hinduism as a whole, there's so much difference between it and Buddhism. Buddhism does not accept a permanent Atma, does not accept a permanent God. So much difference. Jainism, Sikhism. But all of them accept the law of karma. One Swami Uttarakhand used to say, "Ye sochne wali baat hai." The law of karma, this is something worth thinking about. This is law of karma, gambhir tattva hai. It's a very profound truth. I was reading this book on the problem of evil. Why is there suffering in the world? So every religion has to answer. If you believe in God, you have to answer why God permits suffering. So every religion has an answer to the problem of evil. And this Professor Arthur Herman, he has this book called Problem of Evil in Indian Philosophy. And there he has collected 23 answers from different religions, different philosophies. And he says, finally comes to the conclusion, the most rational, satisfying answer is the law of karma in Indian philosophy. All other explanations, and God is testing us, God is punishing us, all those are limited explanations. They have got a lot of defects. But the most rational, philosophically satisfying answer is the law of karma. But one can go beyond the law of karma also. Swami Vivekananda says, when he says, none escape the law, whosoever wears a form must wear the chain too. By chain he means prarabdha karma. There is the karma which has produced this body. It will give its results, you cannot escape from it. But here is the solution. He says, far beyond his name and form, he is Atman ever free. Far beyond this, cause and effect, body, effect of karma, results of karma. Far beyond this is Atman ever free. Know thou art that. Sannyasi mode, he says, know thou art that. Om Tat Sat Om. In his beautiful poem. There is something beyond this world of cause and effect. Aditya Varnam Tamasam Parastam. Beyond this world of cause and effect, beyond ends and means, beyond birth and death, there is something, this infinite existence. Alright, supposing such a thing is there, supposing. Then what should we do? Tameva viditva. Having realized that, you can know it, you can experience it. You can experience it. You see, Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath Datta in Calcutta, how did he become Swami Vivekananda? He had one question. Not whether God exists. That question we have got. Have you seen God? Not only whether God exists, no theory, no belief, experience of religion. So he used to go around asking. And Maharishi Devendranath Tagore and many others, all luminaries of the Bengal Renaissance in Calcutta in those days, he went and asked. Then somebody told him, his English professor told him, there is a mystic in the Dakshineshwar temple called Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He goes into these trances and all. You go and ask him. So Narendranath Datta went to this priest of the Kali temple in Dakshineshwar. Remember, he was a Brahmo. He did not believe in image worship and all this. Classical Hinduism did not appeal to him. He goes to this simple priest, a representative of traditional India. Narendranath Datta is a representative of modern India, the India of which we are all products. He goes and asks the question to traditional India. Have you seen God? And he got a direct, first time he got a straight answer. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa straight away told him, yes, I have seen God. Just as I see you, more clearly than that. And not only that, I can show God to you. You can also see God. He was, at that moment, Narendranath Datta, the transformation started into Swami Vivekananda. Tameva viditva. It can be realized, not theory, not lecture as I am giving, not what you read in books. It's a vivid, living realization that it exists, an infinite existence, an infinite consciousness. And by realizing that, one goes beyond sorrow, beyond dukkha, attains permanent bliss. That is the final goal of life. Any other way is there? Any other way? The question is raised in one of the books of Sankhya Karika. The first verse. Any other ways there? There's so many solutions. If you want to be happy, why take up all this Vedanta, go to a Hindu temple on a nice Saturday morning? Huh? There are other ways of being happy. Why not watch a TV serial? Or why not go for it's a long weekend? Many people have gone on vacation. So why not go for that? That is happiness. Why go and listen to Vedanta lecture? Huh? Answer is Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayana. There is no other way. Every other way, those ways are there. Every other way will give you some result and that will be over very soon. Take a laddu, Indian sweet, put it in your mouth, it will be sweet, it will be nice. And very soon, within 20 seconds, it's gone. Everything else in this world is like that. It will give you some little bit of happiness. For that you have to work in so many ways trying to get that little bit of happiness. And very soon it's gone. It's only when you become tired of this repetitive cycle, then you want a permanent state of joy, a permanent solution to this problem. So, Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayanaya. There is no other way to this, to the solution to the human condition. Solution to the human condition. I was reading this book on existentialism. It's a book called At the Existentialist Cafe, a new book, just published. Sarah Bakewell. So, she says there, see, at the root of all these movements in philosophy, and this was in France in the 1930s, 40s, Jean-Paul Sartre and others, Martin Heidegger. Basically, two questions are there. She says, what are we and what are we to do? Those are the two fundamental questions of life. So they're struggling to find out. And here the answer is Nanya Pantha Vidyate Ayanaya. There is no other path to answering these two questions except this. You see, the fundamental questions in spiritual life. Who are we? And then how do we live this life? What do we do in this life? The answer in spirituality is that there is something called God, Brahman, Ishwar, Allah, whatever you call it. There is something, some infinite reality. If you realize that, your problem is solved. If you realize that. So that is the answer to this question, who are we? And then you live in the light of that. You live a life in the light of that realization. You see, very interesting. Swami Vivekananda, in fact, Sri Ramakrishna, in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, there is Mahendranath Gupta who has written the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The second time he met, first time he could not have any talk with Sri Ramakrishna, second time he went to Sri Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. The first questions he asked, two questions he asked, just see the questions. They are the fundamental questions of spiritual life. First question he asked to Sri Ramakrishna was, how are we to keep our mind on God? Anyone who has begun spiritual life, that's the question everybody has. How can I think of God all the time? That's the first question. And the second question is, how are we to live in this life? Two questions. What are we? Answer given by spirituality is that there is this infinite reality. That is what has to be realized. And then how to live in this world. So these two questions he asks Sri Ramakrishna. So first thing is how to realize this infinite reality. You see, tameva viditvati mrityumeti. By realizing that, one goes beyond all suffering. So immediately our question will be, how do we realize it? How do we do it? Here is something interesting. You have to pay attention here. They are saying, see, what have they said? There is an infinite reality, call it Brahman or whatever, infinite consciousness. By realizing that, by knowing that, you go beyond all suffering. Now, don't you see something strange here? There is an infinite reality. By knowing that, I will go beyond all suffering. How is that possible? That infinite reality, God, Brahman, Allah, whatever you call it, that is beyond all suffering, no doubt. But I am in this world, I am a limited creature. By knowing it, how will I go beyond suffering? If you see a darshan, a vision of God, Sri Ramakrishna saw God. Okay, suppose you see God, you may get some joy. But how will you go beyond all suffering? Just by having a vision of God. By realizing that, how do you go beyond suffering? There is only one way. There is only one way. By knowing something, you become that. That is the only way to go beyond suffering. By knowing Brahman, you become Brahman. Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. There also question arises. By knowing something, how can I become that? I am knowing this bottle of water. Do I become a bottle of water? No. I am the knower. This is the known object. It's a bottle of water. By knowing something, how do you become that? There is only one case where it is possible. By knowing Brahman, you will become Brahman. There is only one way it is possible. How? If you are Brahman already, somehow, for some reason, we do not know it yet. The moment you know it, you become that. It's like the prince who had got lost in a forest and was brought up by a hunter. So one day the ministers of the king came searching and they found this young man and realized, this is the prince. And then he was told that and he became the prince. How did the hunter's son become a prince? Because he was already a prince earlier. He did not know it. Swami Vivekananda West used to tell this story of Hari the lion. The lioness died giving birth to a cub, and the cub was brought up by sheep, a flock of sheep. And the cub thought it was a lamb, but it was a sheep. And it ate grass and it used to do the thing with the sheep and walk around until one big lion came hunting one day. And it saw among all the sheep there is a huge lion, young lion is there, eating grass. So this lion was very surprised. It crept up behind that young lion, pounced on it and caught it. And that young lion started bleating like a sheep. Oh, let me go, you're scaring me. No, you come with me. What I am, that you are. What I am, that you are. And the young lion said, no, I am a sheep, you are a terrible lion. Then he showed him in the pool of water, look at my face, look at your face. You roar like me. And then the young lion realized, I am a lion. How did the sheep become a lion? Impossible. Became a lion because already it was a lion. Did not know. It did not know what it was. In the same way, Vedanta tells us, we do not know what we are. We do not know what we are. We think we are little creatures of flesh and blood, born, living our lives like this, and one day, like our grandparents have gone, parents have gone, in the same way we will also die. That's it. That's what we think about ourselves. We never question it also. Vedanta forces us to question it. It says at this very moment, that Purusham Mahantam, that Brahman, that existence, infinite existence, consciousness, bliss, is what you are, what he or she is, what we are. Everything is that reality. We do not see it yet. That is what we have to realize. That is the goal. There's a saying which I like very much. That we think we are human beings in search of a spiritual experience. But the truth is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. That is why we are subject to this birth and death. We have to realize what we are. And Vedanta proposes this grand project to teach us, to show us what we are. Now think about it. Follow this logic carefully. If, there's another saying which I like, I just remembered it now. There's a saying that what is behind you, what is in front of you, is as nothing compared to what is within you. Another beautiful thing. Whatever has happened in our life, from our birth till today, and whatever remains to happen in your life, it is nothing compared to what is within you, and what is inside you. What it means is that Purusham Mahantam. See? That infinite being. And recently, in one of the ashrams, an American lady, she bought some, she left a card. In the ashram they showed me, this card has been left for you, Swamiji. And in the card it is written, what is behind you, what is in front of you is as nothing compared to what is inside you, and what is inside the freezer. We opened the freezer and said, yes, she has put some ice cream there. So that ice cream is also like that. Anyway, now Vedanta proposes to show us that what is our true nature. Now follow this carefully, that if there is something which we are ignorant of, we do not know what we really are, we are ignorant of it, the only solution to ignorance, any ignorance in the world, is knowledge. The only solution to ignorance is knowledge. What you are ignorant of, try to get knowledge about that. We are ignorant about our true self according to Vedanta, try to get knowledge of that. And Vedanta, all the Upanishads, Vedanta is the Upanishads. The Upanishads are found in the Vedas, together they comprise what is called Vedanta or Jnana Kanda. They have only one purpose. What is that purpose? To teach us that we are Brahman, that you are nothing but God. The essence of the Upanishads is set out in a few short sentences called Mahavakya. In Sanskrit you get many Mahavakyas, long sentences. Maha means big. But these sentences are not long. These are very short sentences. Then why are they called Mahan? Mahavakya, Arthato Gambhira, Arthato Mahan. By meaning, by how profound they are. And all of these sentences, they mean only one thing. They mean you are Brahman. In the Rig Veda, Aitareya Upanishad, you find Prajnanam Brahma. The very consciousness which we are experiencing now, you are using that consciousness to listen to me right now. Hopefully. Now you are. I am a good teacher, you see. And by looking at the classroom, I have been teaching for 20 years. So by a good teacher, by looking at the face of the student, understands whether the student is listening, how much he is listening, whether the student is understanding or not. So you are listening, I can tell, because I can look at it, I can immediately see that there is attention. So, this consciousness which you feel just now, by which you are listening, seeing, thinking, that consciousness, properly understood, is nothing but Brahman, that infinite consciousness called God. Prajnanam Brahma, Rig Veda, Aitareya Upanishad. In the Sama Veda, famous Chandogya Upanishad, Tattvamasi, we have all heard of this, Tattvamasi, that thou art. That Brahman, that which you worship as God in a temple, really speaking, you are that. You are that. Your true nature. Not as an individual man or woman or child, not like that, but the true nature, beyond the body and mind, the consciousness which you are, which we are, that is Brahman. Tattvamasi. In the Yajurveda, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. As I really am, that real nature is Brahman. And in the Atharva Veda, Mandukya Upanishad, I am Atma Brahma. I am means pointing towards yourself. This very self, your own self, is Brahman. So these four traditional Mahavakyas, there are other Mahavakyas, but traditionally four are taken. So these four Mahavakyas, one from each Veda, tells you just one and one thing only. You are Brahman. This is how to realize this, how to not just listen to it or read about it, how to make a living experience of this. This is the goal of spiritual life. This is the goal of Vedanta. The method to do that is to listen to these teachings from a competent teacher in a systematic way, study Vedanta, think about it, and then meditate deeply about it. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Hear these things, study these things again and again, repeat it to yourself. Ask questions. I remember standing in front of Belur Math in Calcutta one day and asking a senior Swami, I was a brahmachari. Swamiji, I've got some questions about Vedanta. I thought he might be upset, some doubts. He said, you ask any question you want. Since the time of Shankara, 1400 years, all sorts of questions have been asked and they have been answered. Many questions you can never think of also have been asked. So fearlessly ask all questions. You must ask questions. In Vedanta, the aim is not to believe. The Vedanta, the aim is to comprehend, understand, experience. It must become a reality. Or it is already a reality, we must recognize that reality. That is the goal in Vedanta. Swami Vivekananda says, tell yourself again and again, I am that, or I am he, soham, till it tingles with every drop of your blood, till it becomes a living reality. Not hypnotization, it's dehypnotization. We are hypnotized into thinking we are these little creatures of flesh and blood. And yet how strange. Body is continuously changing. Name a series of physical changes is called the body. The great scholar Vachaspati Mishra, who wrote the commentary Bhamati on Shankaracharya's commentary on Brahma Sutras. He says, I who was a little child playing on the lap of my grandfather, now in the grandfather's lap, the grandson is playing on my lap. This is our experience in life. So that little child's body and this old man's body, so much change is there. How can I say I am the same one? People will not be able to recognize also the young child and this old man. And yet we say I am that one. Which one? The young child, the young man, middle-aged person, old person, which one are you? Every moment changing. Mind changing even faster. Imagine the mind that we had when we were 15 years old. Everybody remembers, in Indians at least, we remember class 10 examinations. Board exam. First terrifying examination everybody faced. Imagine sitting in that examination hall and writing. What kind of mind did we have? What were our thoughts? What were our desires? What were our hopes? What were our fears? And the mind now, completely different. So much difference is there in your knowledge, in your ideas, in your goals of life. So mind has changed so much. How can you say, I am that mind? Which mind? Vedanta shows us step by step. You are not the body, you are not the mind. You are something beyond body and mind. Body and mind change. The first step in Vedanta is neti neti. Not this, not this. That which is changing, I am not that. Anityam, I am not that. That which is jada, an object of knowledge, I am not that. If you know the body, you are not the body. You are the knower of the body. If you know the mind, experience your mind. Everybody experiences mind. We sit quietly, we can feel thoughts, feelings, emotions coming. If you know it, that's an object of your experience, you are not that. That is jada, you are chetana. Jada means inert. Chetana means sentient. You are the knower, that is the known. That which is changing, you are not that. That which is an object of your knowledge, you are not that. You are the consciousness which is illumining this. Shankaracharya sings beautifully. Nirvana Shatakam, you chant it here every Monday. Think about what you are chanting. Mano buddhya ahankara chittani naham. I am not the mind. I am not the memory. I am not the intellect. The very intellect which we are using now to understand all this. I am not the intellect. Most amazingly, ahankara na aham. If you can understand this, if you can grasp this moment you will become enlightened. Ahankara means that which is saying I. Aham, I, the ego. The ego which you feel just now, which we all feel just now, ego. I am listening. I am speaking. This is what we identify ourselves with. We are not that also. That's just a function of the mind. Ahankara na aham. I am not the I sense also. What a paradoxical statement. You see, when we get enlightenment, when we get freedom, moksha, I do not get freedom, but I get freedom from the I. You do not get free. You get freedom from yourself. That which is the real you becomes free from the apparent you. Becomes free means it was always free, we recognize the freedom. When you say that, then only Shankaracharya says, next line which is most famous, Chidananda Rupaha Shivoham Shivoham. There Shiva does not mean Jatajutatari Mahadeva. Here Shiva means the ultimate Swarupa of that Jatajutatari Mahadeva. The ultimate Swarupa is infinite consciousness. Chidananda, consciousness, bliss. And that's what you are. When you are chanting that, it's not that Shiva is singing Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. You are singing your real nature. Shankaracharya sings his real nature, your real nature, and Shiva's real nature is the same existence, consciousness, bliss. When you say Aham Brahmasmi, what a terrifying statement we are making. Think about it. Not only you are saying that I am Brahman, that itself is revolutionary. There is something even more tremendous there. People don't think about it. What is that tremendous thing? When you say I am Brahman, not only are you claiming that you are Brahman, you are God. You are not only claiming that. Something else, the reverse. God is you. Aham Brahmasmi means two things. I, the real I, am Brahman, and Brahman is the real I. It means when I say I am Brahman, it means I am not this little body. I am not this little mind. Not even this little life. I am that infinite existence called Brahman. That's one meaning. The opposite side, Brahman is I. It means there is no Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, no Bhagavan, Allah, Jehovah, whatever, except you. Think about what a tremendous statement it is. That except the real human self, imagine the glory of your own self. That is what, that real self within each of us, according to Advaita Vedanta, that is what we worship with name and form as Bhagavan, as Devi there, as Sitaram there, as Ganesha, as Radha Krishna, as Venkata, as Shiva, with different names and forms, with different upadhi, technically they call it. It's the same Satchidananda which you are, which I am, which everybody else is. This is the ultimate conclusion of Advaita Vedanta. Your true nature is being worshipped here as God. Because it is difficult for us to grasp it, to think about it, we project it out and give it many glorious qualities and then have a relationship, a sweet, loving relationship. Ultimately, however, what you are inside and what really that represents is one and the same reality. That is the glorious conclusion of Indian philosophy, of Hinduism, of Advaita Vedanta. You might say, then what about the other approaches? This is a jnana approach. What about bhakti or meditation? It's the same thing. Where Jnani realizes through vichara that I am one with that. The bhakta realizes through love that my Lord is all in all. Everything is my Lord. I surrender to my Lord. I surrender this limited self to the infinite. That alone exists. That is a bhakta's approach. There is no contradiction. Absolutely no contradiction. Some of the greatest jnanis are also great bhaktas. Some of the greatest bhaktas are also jnanis. Swami Vivekananda used to say that I am jnana outside. Inside I am all bhakti. And then he said about Sri Ramakrishna and the old man. He used to say old man. He seemed to be all bhakti outside. Inside he was all jnana. Bhakti and jnana, no virodha. Meditation, we meditate on that. That which we are, we give it a name and a form and we concentrate on that. Focus on that to the exclusion of everything else. The whole technology of meditation is meant for that. In Karma Yoga, we serve that alone. Sri Ramakrishna said, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. When you do schools, colleges, hospitals, so what are these Babajis doing? Social service? No, they are doing spiritual practice. They are worshipping the same God in the form as Swami Vivekananda put it. In Rogi, the sick person is your Narayana. The student, the ignorant person is your Narayana. The person neglected by society, crushed by society is your God. So when Gandhiji says Harijan, basically the same idea. The divine indwells in the human self. So when you do something good to others, you are not doing charity, you are worshipping God. That's why Swami Vivekananda said, let the giver kneel down and offer. Let the person who is accepting stand up and accept. You are not giving charity. So the other yogas, Bhakti, Raja Yoga Dhyana and Karma Yoga, they all support this realization. Ultimately, that we are Brahman, it will all lead to that. And one more final thing and I'll conclude. Vivekananda, Sri Ramakrishna also pointed out, it's not that this alone is true and others are false. It's never like that. Hinduism is based on the idea, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. In Rig Veda, thousands of years ago, before Sri Ramakrishna or Vivekananda or anybody, the truth is one. The wise express it differently. In different sects of Hinduism, all those represent different sects. One good thing about America is, it has forced all those sects to come together in one temple. If you go to the south, you will have a Shiva temple and quite different will be a Vishnu temple. And in many places in the west, I have seen Harihara temple together. Shiva and Vishnu have become nice friends, side by side they are standing. Which is the way it should be, because they all represent the same reality. Not only within Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, everywhere is that one reality which is understood and worshipped and appreciated in different ways. Even in Buddhism, which does not seem to speak about any permanent God at all, but they talk about a transcendental state called Nirvana. Recently I read something very interesting. Buddha himself is saying, one of the original Pali texts, it's downplayed maybe in Buddhism, he is saying, "O bhikshus, other than the mixed, compounded, created, there is an unmixed, uncompounded, uncreated. If there were not this unmixed, uncompounded, uncreated, there would be no escape from the mixed and the compounded and created." He does not say eternal, because eternal means something else in Buddhism. But he says that there is something transcendent, because of which there is an escape from the relative. If it was not there, there would be no escape. Nirvana itself means that. So every religion, in different ways, different language, different philosophy, different mythology, different methodology, takes us to that same reality. Sri Ramakrishna put it in simple Bengali, Jato mat tato path. As many religions, so many paths to that reality. And therefore, today it's easy for a Hindu to grasp. But you see the great relevance for that in today's world, when there is religious violence and intolerance and terrorism. This message that the Advaitic idea of the divinity within us and that one divinity in all religions, it is a message of harmony, of peace. You can enjoy. For a Hindu, there is no problem. You kneel down in the temple, you can see God in the mosque and God in the church also. There is no problem for the Hindu. We know that it is the same reality in different ways. It's very easy for us to appreciate. If you can worship 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ways of this, worshipping the same reality, why not 3 or 4 more ways? Why not? So, the message of the harmony of religions. We have covered a long distance. I must congratulate myself. We started with positive psychology, from there to dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and then moving on to moksha. Then moksha as the realization of the divinity within us, realization through jnana, through bhakti, meditation, through karma yoga, then the harmony of different religions, and here we are. So thank you very much. Thank you once again for inviting me. Thank you.
Seriously, and you begin with the happiness. I have 2 parts of my question.
Yes.
So when you define the happiness and the Philip Holmes, all these things in the Vedanta, is there any way, somewhere defined what is non-happiness? That is part 1. And then part 2, you said moksha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and then beyond that something is there. So to reach something beyond that, do we need to go through the basic happiness and then we reach there? Or directly, is there a way to go to the beyond happiness?
Right. So, what is non-happiness? We don't have to be taught that. We feel it. that there is dukkha in this world. We feel it. That's the beginning of any kind of effort for not only religion. Any kind of effort for self-improvement comes when we are dissatisfied with this world. So that dissatisfaction, the Sanskrit term for that is dukkha. It's not something philosophical, it's not something theoretical, it is the beginning of all our efforts. Even animals and insects feel that this is not pleasant, that is pleasant. So we want to move from non-happiness, dissatisfaction, to a state of satisfaction and happiness. And all our efforts, forget Vedanta religion, every effort in life is meant for that. In bed, when you turn over from one side to the other, you're moving from dukkha to sukha. You're trying to. Now, how can we do that more intelligently? That is what we are pursuing in religion. Now, do we have to go to dharma, artha, kama and then come to moksha?
I mean, my first question is, was there any proper definition already given? What is non-dukkha, non-happiness, or just by experience?
What sukha and dukkha we experience. We experience, yes. They call it ishta and anishta. A desired for state and an undesirable state. What is desired for and what is undesired for, you can yourself feel it. That what you like, what you do not like. Now, do we have to go through all this to come to that ultimate happiness? Experience, little bit of experience may be necessary. That is why some people say that in in temples and churches and all, only old people come. Well, there is a reason for that. Experience, little bit of experience of life is necessary. But it's good to start young. It's very good to start young. The more quickly you start, better, and you don't have to go through all those experiences. What one has to do is be intelligent about it. I have a desire for something. Then you experience it and understand this is the extent. This is as much happiness this can give me. These are the plus and minus of this. Once you have experienced it, intelligent person will let it go and move ahead. A not so intelligent person will keep on repeating it, not understanding why I am not happy anymore. First time I did it, first time I ate that pastry, chocolate pastry, I was happy. Second time I ate it, not so happy. Third time, But if you go on eating that, diabetes may be, and you are unhappy. Move ahead. What is more? What is better? What really gives me happiness? So quickly one can go ahead. One should not get stuck. And in fact, there's this whole question, those who are interested in the technical side of Vedanta, the first sutra in Brahma Sutra is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Thus, therefore, an inquiry into Brahman. Now, after this, an inquiry into Brahman, that is the concept there. After what should you start spiritual life? So, one philosopher says, after experiencing householder life, after experiencing everything in the world, Karma Kanda, then Jnana Kanda. After all, in Veda also, first Karma Kanda comes, then Jnana Kanda. Shankaracharya says no. If you want to experience that, go through it. In a dharmika way, good way. If you don't want to experience it, you come directly to this. You go into the shop, instead of seeing all the clothes which are being shown, oh, they will open nicely before you. Instead of that, you say, no, show me. In Hindi they say, asli maal dikhao. Show me the real thing. If you know that thing is there in the back of the shop, then the shopkeeper will take you behind the counter and show you the real thing. So you can go directly. Shankaracharya says, if you have that kind of viveka and vairagya, if we have, I don't want this anymore. And I want that highest thing which books promise me, then you can go directly. Even if one does not go directly, with whatever experience we have in life till at this point, now let us move ahead. That's the idea. Thank you for that question. Yes, there's a question. We must be as helpful as possible. We must not deny poor people, less fortunate people, the chance for a better life. That would be selfishness. I have got this chance for a better life. Now I don't want to share it with anybody else. That's selfishness and that's self-defeating. After some time I will be unhappy. It's better to open out and accept people. But when we do that, also common sense should be there. You should have enough to protect yourself, enough to educate that person. When you come into a liberal society, a democratic society, society where secularism, human rights are respected, we must accept that. And we must accept these values into our system. And we must make sure that those who come into the system also accept those values. There's nothing wrong with that. Certainly. Now, you say we are aware that we are divine. The thing is, we are aware how? We have heard these Vedanta talks. Swamiji, I have heard Vedanta for 30 years. That I am Brahman. But the moment I go out and find a traffic jam in the freeway, all Brahman is forgotten. I get very irritated. So how do I put it into practice? Is it practical? That is why all these spiritual technologies are there. Why is puja there? Why is meditation there? Why is karma yoga there? Why are all these Upanishads there? Why are we studying and thinking? It is to equip ourselves so that we can bring this theory, this kind of idea into a living reality. Once it's a living reality for us, we can put it into practice. Too much eagerness to apply it also is dangerous. So I get these emails, Swamiji, wonderful lecture, I heard it. When I went to practice, it did not work. So all these rishis and munis who have been doing tapasya for years and years and decades, they're wasting their time. Immediately if you go to practice that, how will it work? You read about an athlete or a weightlifter who lifts 200 kgs. You try to lift that, you will sprain your back. it requires that kind of training and practice also. You see, that is why sadhana is necessary. I just added at the end of the yogas, practice of meditation. Today we'll speak about it, practice of meditation. It's a whole different subject. What is the relationship of the different spiritual practices to jnana? Jnana is central. To know that you are Brahman, to realize it is central. But for that, a lot of practices are necessary. You see, what happens is, in Vedanta they talk about adhikari. There are different levels of competent persons. A very pure, concentrated person studies Vedanta, thinks about it, gets realization. It's possible. But such people are rare in this world. Very rare. All the other persons have to prepare themselves. It's like this. The real problem is, that we do not feel that we are Brahman. We may read that we are Brahman. We may listen to lectures that we are infinite existence, bliss. But we may read that we are infinite existence and bliss and whatever, but we don't feel it. We don't feel that we are that. And there's some humming going on. Okay. Advaita. He listens carefully and then he says in Bengali, Kathagulo bhalo, dharana hawache. The things we are talking about are good things. But there must be dharana. The mind must absorb this. Our minds are unable to absorb because our minds are scattered. We don't know how scattered our minds are. So for taking care of that, to prepare the mind, meditation, upasana, this is necessary. So for that there is a whole system of meditation, upasana. You try to meditate, the result is either you fall asleep or the typical question, Swamiji, my mind goes here and there, I cannot concentrate on God. Viksheva. The reason for that is the mind is not only distracted, the mind is impure. We have dropped a lot of garbage into the mind over the years of our life and many past lives also. If you pick up anything and everything and put it in your mouth, the result will be upset stomach. Stomach will get upset immediately. And you know why? The same thing we do much worse. Through all the Jnanendriya, eyes, ears and everything, we are gathering things from the world and dumping it into the mind. Mind is upset. When you want to make it quiet and meditative, it will not be quiet and meditative. I'll speak more about that today we'll have a guided meditation session. So, then purity of the mind is necessary. So you see these three levels. Make a structure in your mind. First level, purity of mind is necessary. Problem is impurity of mind does not allow me to meditate. Purity of mind is necessary. Method, karma yoga, nishkama karma. When I have a pure mind, try to meditate with that. The problem is distraction. What I want is concentration. Method, meditation. With a pure mind, if I meditate, concentration will come immediately. In Uttarakhand, one sadhu said, in Hindi I'll tell you and translate, Samadhi to sahaj hai baba. आप चित्त शुद्ध करके लाओ 2 मिनट में समाधि लगा दो. But deepest absorption, samadhi is very easy, my dear boy. You bring a pure mind to me, shuddha chitta. It will take 2 minutes to reach samadhi. But chitta shuddhi is the big problem. Now, with a concentrated mind and a pure mind, when you apply yourself to Vedanta, you will see the result immediately. You will be able to apply it in life. When you are in the freeway, you will not lose your temper. The moment you are losing your temper, you also realize at the same time, it is that same existence bliss in which this name and form is appearing. Freeway and car and your own body, your own mind, your own negative thinking which is coming up. It's in the same consciousness, in the mirror of the same consciousness. The moment you are aware of that, it will become peaceful. It will happen. So that's why support is necessary. Directly it will not work. Yeah. Question? You tell me when to stop.
Swamiji, I guess you answered most of my question in this previous answer, but I was just going to ask you, there's so much emphasis on ritualism and all that in Hinduism today. You know, how important is meditation, which, you know, you kind of alluded to the importance of it. And how much time should one spend doing that on a daily basis?
Yes. Good question. Too much emphasis on ritualism today, actually it is less today.
Yes.
It has been decreasing. It had become too much. Big old temple, little puja, finished. That's my religion. But you see, in modern generation, more people are interested in meditation, in Vedanta and all these things. So the emphasis is shifting. What you see here, for example, is the purified, simplest of rituals. So that ritual at the basis, followed by more important than the rituals, is the bhakti, the devotion, the prayer from within. More important than that is deep concentration on God. More important than that is jnana, Vedanta, vichara. So the Vedanta is the real thing, vicharas. Let me do that, everything else I will dump. Then that also will not work. All these are support structures. It's only, we'll talk about it more today. Before I talk about meditation, before we do the meditation, I'll give you a short talk on before you sit for meditation. Before you sit for meditation. Ritual is very important. When you are doing a ritualistic action, next moment when you sit down and try to meditate, it will be easier. Let me tell you a little interesting thing. There's this book called Happiness Hypothesis. Again, positive psychology. This Professor Jonathan Haidt, H-A-I-D-T, who works here in the United States. Now, he did something interesting. He went to Bhubaneswar in India, Orissa, and the Lingaraj temple, Shiva temple there. He did a psychological survey, a test on the priests there. He gave them a psychological questionnaire, a test, a sample questionnaire to them, and before their ritual bath and puja. And after the ritualistic bath and puja, he gave the same test. And he found a complete change in their mindset, temporarily. Now what happens is, rituals have a direct effect on your mind. That's why today also I recommend that you have a little bit of ritualing, not too much. The danger with ritual is keeps on increasing. This puja, this kind of kriya, that kind of kriya, this homa, that abhisheka, it goes on increasing. No, ritual should put you in the proper frame of mind for prayer. Prayer and ritual should put you in the proper frame of mind for dhyana. And with that kind of mind, when you do Vedanta vichara, you will find immediate direct results. With a calm and concentrated mind. So, yes, ritual has its place. Don't let it. I remember Swami Ranganathanandaji, who was the president of our order. In Belur Math, the tradition is before any puja is performed, you have to go to President Maharaj and bow down, take his blessings. So the pujari and the monk who was doing the puja, the tantra dharak, they went and bowed down. Every time he would ask, yes, what is it? Swamiji, this Saraswati puja or Kali puja or some puja is there today. Please bless us. Moment you say puja, he will say, very good, shorten it. This puja, that puja, very good, shorten it. Don't increase it unnecessarily. But shorten it does not mean I'll finish it in 5 minutes and then go and watch TV. Rather, use that frame of mind, go from puja to japa, go from japa to dhyana. And that creates a environment in the mind, a mental environment which is very conducive to Vedanta vichara. Yes.
Pranams. I know this is a question, maybe it's a silly question, but when we have to see Narayana in every being.
Yes.
But when I know someone who's just an example, someone who's beheading someone else, how to see Narayana in that person also?
Yes. This is the question. There are, a variation of this question is, if all are God, why are some people good and many people are bad? Why will God be bad? Remember one thing, from a philosophical point of view, then I'll tell you from a practical point of view. From a philosophical point of view, good and bad are in what is called a Sukshma Sharira. The tendencies which we have got through many lives. So the mind has good tendencies, bad tendencies, and a mixture. The Atman or Brahman is a witness to the mind, is not the mind. The changing mind is not God. Good and bad are in the changing mind. Good thoughts, we do good things. Bad thoughts, we do bad things. So, mind and the Atman are different. Philosophically speaking, these two are different. So, even a bad person is Narayana not in the sense of the body or mind, in the sense of existence consciousness, please. Swami Vivekananda says, remember, it is that existence first, then it is colored by good and we call it good. It is that existence first, then it's colored by bad and we call it bad. But in reality, it is the same existence. So philosophically, this is the answer. Practically, however, more interesting, Sri Ramakrishna says, Narayana is in everything, but you don't have to embrace the tiger Narayana. Narayana is in everything. But what is your goal? Your goal is to realize Narayana. So you must not do anything which will lead to your destruction. Then how will you realize it? The example is given of the Mahut Narayana. Classic example. One person, he heard from the Guru, everything is Narayana. Very good. Then from the ashram he went out into the village and some people were running around. Somebody was shouting, mad elephant is coming. Run away, run away. At first he was scared. And he thought, no, it is Narayana. The Guru has told it is Narayana. And the Mahut, the one who controls that elephant, I don't know whether he was sitting on the mad elephant or running on the ground, he shouted, run away, mad elephant is coming. No, all are Narayana, it's all right. All ran away and he saw this elephant coming in. He got scared, but with great determination, I must practice, it is Narayana. He stood there. The elephant came and picked him up and threw him into this fields near the road, and the elephant charged ahead. He became unconscious, did not return to the ashram. People got worried. They went out searching. Then they heard, yes, one brahmachari from the ashram, I think he was attacked by the elephant. He fell somewhere there near the edge. So everybody from the ashram rushed there. They revived him, put some water on him, and then took him back to the ashram, carried him, I think in a stretcher or something. Then his guru asked, my child, what happened? He said, sir, you told me that everybody is Narayana. I was practicing it. And then I saw this elephant Narayana came. I thought Narayana won't be any problem. Why will Narayana harm me? But the elephant picked me up and threw me on the side. So why this unfortunate thing happened to me? I was following your instruction only. And the Guru said, my dear boy, why did you not listen to the Mahut Narayana? Mahut, the control of the elephant, he said run away. Why don't you listen to him? He's also Narayana. The idea is use common sense. There's a joke about Shankaracharya, about a Vedanta, a joke only. So, one day, it's same similar thing. Shankaracharya is walking along and a mad elephant comes. It's not in any account of his life, just a joke. And then, like everybody else, people run away. Shankaracharya climbs a coconut tree and is on top. So the elephant charges past. Later on, somebody asked him, sir, you say everything is Brahman. Elephant is also Brahman. You are also Brahman. You are not body and mind. What can the elephant do to you? So why did you climb the coconut tree? And he says, well, I know I am Brahman. You know I am Brahman. But does the elephant know I am Brahman? Joke. Just joking. Vastness of Hinduism. So I said to them, imagine in America you have more than I think 100 or 200 different churches. All of those Christian churches, all of them, they're all different from each other. All of them combined together. Then together with this you combine the varieties of Judaism, Reform Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, combine them. With that you combine all of Islam, Sunni, Shia, everything you combine. Make one mega religion, mega Abrahamic religion. Imagine what that kind of religion will be like. You're thinking, they'll go, wow. And after you conceive of that, Hinduism is still bigger, vaster and wider than that. In concept, not in numbers. Numbers are also vast, but now in numbers, Islam is more, Christianity, Catholic Christianity is more and so on. But in simple mythology, conceptions, philosophy, practice, just look here. You can just see to your left. Same reality, Ekam Sat, Bahuda, in various ways. We see no concept, as no conflict here. As Hindus, you bow down equally before all of them. And you may have in your community, in your practice, one form of God. Maybe you're devoted to Venkata, or you're devoted to Ganesha, or you're devoted to Krishna. But you know all the other forms are also same, different forms of the same Brahman. So this is the thing. Hinduism is vast. Sufi mystics in Islam and Vedanta, he finds them. So many things he has drawn from different traditions which are similar, number one. Number 2 is a relatively unknown book which I am reading right now. I did not know of it also. It's called Paths to Transcendence. Paths to Transcendence by one Kazemi, Reza Kazemi. He is an Iranian scholar, Muslim scholar. That book has 3 chapters, or 3 main chapters. First chapter, Shankaracharya. Second chapter, Ibn Arabi, great Muslim scholar. And third chapter, the Meister Eckhart, who is a German Catholic mystic, Christian mystic, medieval ages. And he shows at the core, at the deepest philosophical level, they are all trying to express the same thing. Now, because I know Advaita little bit at least, so as a sample, I started with the Advaita chapter to see what is this person's depth, and I found it's very good. He's an Islamic scholar, but he has studied seriously with reverence Advaita Vedanta, and he finds wonderful depth in that, and he finds similarity with Ibn Arabi and with Meister Eckhart. So it is possible. Another book, God as Existence, Consciousness, Bliss. Sat Chit, name of the book is God as Being, Consciousness, Bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. He uses the word Sat Chit Ananda. Who has written it? David Bentley Hart, Christian theologian. Christian theologian. He says the highest conception of God in any religion is this one, which is most clearly found in Hinduism. He says clearly. Orthodox Church Christian theologian, David Bentley Hart. You can see, whole book is on that. Beautiful book. The whole chapter on Sat, he uses the Sanskrit words. Sat, Chit, Anand. So, at the core, that understanding is there. But at the periphery, that understanding may not be there. And so there's an exclusive feeling. I am right, you are wrong. So this person is from India, he is wrong and he is going to go to hell. Let me convert him. At least he will be saved. So you should treat him like the elder brother treated the younger brother. Yes, your path is right, but leave me to mine. Many lives hence, we might be able to talk. We met on a plane. This gentleman was head of a Christian church, and we had a very long 3-hour long flight. So we had a long discussion with him, and he insisted that every other religion is false, and even in Christianity, the Catholics are going to go to hell, the other churches are going to go to hell. Only his own little church, followers of that, are going to be saved. Everybody else in the whole world is going to go to hell. So we had a long discussion, about 3 hours. When he got down, finally when he got down from the plane, he got up and he said to me, Swami, and I taught him to say Swami. So he said, Swami, I know I am right. He's not changing. Yeah. I know I am right, but, very interesting. But if I did not know that, I would say you are talking sense. That means I will not change. I will not change. But you see, reason speaks. Even in that person's mind, a question is a reason that, yes, I am right, everybody else is wrong. But if you want to be reasonable about it, this fellow is saying these things.